All right. I took the very last possible measure, and that was disabling low latency mode. I don't want to say it's actually working. Because it's a little bit too early to tell. Seems a bit better. Okay, so 10.9 for 3 LOD. Yeah, that's a bit better. Just a little bit better. So 00, I think you're East Coast, Australia, and then keep your Midwest. So I sort of want to make this my new slot every Wednesday at this time. I hope that works out for you guys. Maybe start a little bit earlier just because I had so many tech issues and I'm still having tech issues. So here's the 0 LOD run. So this is the massive mess I have in my room at the moment. All this GPU binning that I'm doing. Yeah, low latency mode is helping somewhat, or lack of low latency mode. So 10,900, let's try and sort of semi keep track of stuff. Let's make a table out of it. Ready for what? So 10.83, not a massive difference actually. That one LOD is just ever so slightly blurry. Just forgot to get myself a glass of water. I'll be right back. Z490. All right, right back. Where's a good spot for this? What did I miss? We're still on GT1. GT1 takes so long that I can go down a set of stairs, open a fridge, take out a bottle of water, and come back up the stairs, and the GT is still running. One of the longest GTs. For 3D Mark, GT2 in Vantage is longer. But at least they make up for it by having a much shorter GT2. Okay, we have some people on the stream, so maybe now I can start my whole spiel. Yeah, so I work in an industry. Oh, what's on the bench today? Mythical. Just do exclamation point rig. I only have one card in there right now, though. I was having some tech issues earlier. My original idea is to do 3-way SLI. But as you can see probably from the video quality, which is quite reduced, I was having internet issues. So I had to disable low latency mode, which means that I can't interact as in, let's say, near real time, but at least the stream seems to be more stable. But yeah, lower quality. And so 10.89, that was for one lot. Maybe I should be putting in the entire freaking number. All right. So yeah, my concept for the stream today was we've had a bit of a jump in temperatures. It's about 10 Celsius at the moment in Sydney, which is quite cold for our standards. So I was going to heat up the bench room a little bit by running 3-way GTX 285, which I do have the cards here, but there's been a few issues that have prevented me from getting that ready. I might try and do 2-way later on. Let's see how this goes. So yeah, just first of all, why streaming today? Because my employer I'm on voluntarily reduced working time, so I have one day off a week, so I only work 4 days now because I work in an industry that's affected by current events, and I picked Wednesday for it. So my hope is that I can stream every Wednesday, and in sort of this time slot, maybe a little bit earlier, so I can catch East Coast US and maybe even a little bit of Europe. But yeah, so that's why I'm streaming today. But in terms of the bench rig and the streaming, well, I got a new capture card yesterday, which I didn't expect to arrive yet yesterday, so I got busy installing it in my computer, like setting up OBS all over again. And I ran into some issues, so I was hoping to completely get rid of all my other capture cards. I have some of them here. So, well, let me just, what's it called? Blackmagic Decklink HDMI Quad. Yeah, so it's this kind of thing. I don't know why I can't zoom in there, but there we go. So I got one of these things. Oh, there's just one adjustment I'd like to make. Yeah, need this on here instead of just the bench rig. All right, so yeah, this card is a quad input, so the benefit of that is I can get rid of a ton of capture cards that I already had in the system. So to get all 3 of my cameras working and to get the bench rig working as well, I had a couple of Camlink 4Ks, which are just intended to be for cameras, these things. So they just have one HDMI in and they're USB 3.0. So those were for 2 of my cameras. And then I also had 2 separate PCIe capture cards, so an Elgato 4K and an Elgato HD 60 Pro, which is currently in the system. And I was hoping to get rid of all of them, but it's currently in the system, so there's a reason I couldn't get rid of it. So the idea was to have 3 cameras and the bench rig going into the 4 inputs here, but I actually ended up with just the 3 cameras going in there because I was having issues splitting off another signal. So I like to have a signal going straight from the bench rig to a monitor behind here. And that's not possible obviously with this capture card. The entire IO shield is just the input, so there's no space for a HDMI out. So I had to use a splitter, and that didn't really work out. So I currently have 2 PCIe cards in the system, but a lot of the audio issues I was having previously, I think, were because of like USB interference, since my microphone is USB, and these cam links were on USB. So now that I don't have to use them anymore, now that those inputs are going via PCIe, hopefully that's not going to be an issue anymore. So let's note down our results. So that was 2 LOD, which is 10,941. Let's do subtests as well. Oh, it's actually basically completely almost kind of like symmetrical, the 2 tests. Okay, so let's rerun 3 LOD. So yeah, then I can sell those capture cards. Which in the current climate probably I'll make good money for them. Right. I think that's the right address. So when's Z490 actually coming out, Hayden? Or Keep, rather. Do you know more than we know? Right, all of this is still up to date. Still got these cams. I think this we can remove. And that can be removed as well. Always like to stay up to date. And now let's have a look for this Blackmagic Decklink quad. Well, there we go. Boom. Think you can rearrange, yeah, so let's put it next to all of our other capture cards. There we go. Cameras, 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 capture cards, audio, rig. Okay. So yeah, let's see how this goes. This is my new normal is having a day at home. I mean, I work from home anyway currently due to current government regulations in Australia. As my internet magically recovers. Weird. Okay, so that was a 10.939. And what about the subtests? Is there any sort of pattern there? Worse GT1, better GT2. Okay, let's do a 2.5 run. Let's see if we can find a sweet spot. Yeah, so the agreement I've entered into with my employer is 6 months of every Wednesday off, reduced working hours 20%. So hopefully I can get through some good streams. This is what I plan to do next week, is start this legacy 3D streaming series, let's say. But actually I need to make an adjustment there, because, well, I already had kind of, I'm not logged in. There we go. Dropbox paper is the absolute bomb. I recommend it to anyone. So 6600 GT, I think both of those cards are dead. But Bilko found me a 6800 Ultra. So that's going to be the first NVIDIA card. And I think that's the one that was released April 2004. So for those who didn't look at this before, hopefully people aren't sick of me. Sick of me for talking about this. Hold on. Oh, there we go. One of my cameras just had a bit of a hissy fit. So yeah, okay. So the idea is PCI Express cards only. One stream per generation. And by generation, I mean I'll pick one card from that generation and stream that one card once. And there's some stuff that's kind of doubled up, like the 7000 series here, but actually it's still a sort of a slightly different architecture. And the idea is to have one stream per year per manufacturer. So we have 2004 to 2012 on the NVIDIA side, and the same thing on AMD and ATI. So I think it's 9 streams, so 18 streams in total, 9 streams per manufacturer, and I'll alternate them. So it just so happens that the release dates line up in such a way that I can alternate them. Weird. Okay, so, oh, what's that? That's, so that was 2.5. and that was a 10, 9 to 7. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of variance here. If we go here, as my internet once again has a bit of an issue. Actually, the best was 2 so far, so let's try 1.75 as well. Let's try that straight away, actually. Oh yeah, so it actually ends up being 1.8. So that's 2.8, 2.2, I guess. 1.8. How's everyone doing? Are you already fed up with all this Corona jazz? What do you think? Is it going to be faster? So there was a bit of commotion around this sub from Miller. 3G on Pascal, I guess. Should say it in the GPU Z anyway. Oh, it's just called GP 106. Quebec. Oh, Quebec is a nice part of the world. So 10,934. Yeah, I think it's kind of starting to become obvious that these two tests need. Ooh, no 1.2. Okay, 2.3, close enough. Need two different logs. deconfinement. So yeah, Quebec. I've been to Quebec twice. I like it. I went to Quebec City, Montreal, Trois Rivières. Now you can make fun of me for my terrible French or lack of French. That's a bit better. Are you from there, or are you just visiting? So one of the things going on with the GTX 200 series is that it has separate shader clocks from core. So you're overclocking three different things: core, memory, and shader. And this, I've noticed already that the stock BIOS, at least on the GTX 285, sets a ratio, an automatic ratio between shader and core that's a little bit too high. So I noticed that Popa on this card seems to have flashed a BIOS that sets a lower ratio. So the other two cards I own have a stock ratio of, I think, 2.5. So that means that when you set the core to, let's say, 1000, it will set shader to 2.5 gigahertz, 2500, which means that you might overclock the core thinking that it's crashing because you're overclocking the core, but actually you might still have headroom in the core. It's just that the shader, because of that automatic ratio, goes a little bit too high. Oh, nice. Yeah, I have a few friends in Montreal, French-speaking people. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's probably gotten a bit more hip and busy in recent years, but first time I went was probably, oh god, 2008, something like that. And I got the sense that it's a little bit of sleepy town, but I'm sure it's changed now. 10.918. That was 2.3. 918. $90.812. So this was our best GT2 so far, from what I can see. This has been our best GT1. Yeah, no, the dot 3. Best GT1. Okay, let's give 2.8 a quick try. Yeah, I find Canada interesting. Been there a few times. Always just short visits, unfortunately. So I've done pretty much 2 long weekends in Montreal. I've done like a weekend in Toronto and a long weekend in Vancouver. It seems weird, but it's just always been something I did just before, like on the way to the US or on the way back from the US. But my girlfriend really wants to go to British Columbia, so maybe finally I'll have like a full solid 2 weeks in Canada. But there's also the Isay. Yeah, I think you mean Truthman. There's also the I can't describe myself as a train enthusiast, but I do like trains. Where is Canada? If you don't know this site, it's seat61.com. It's like a sort of Bible of big train trips. So yeah, there's Rocky Mountaineer from Vancouver to Jasper is sort of a known trip, or to Calgary. The Canadian across Canada, they've rebranded that. It used to be called something else, but yeah, Vancouver to Toronto obviously could be a really cool trip. Yeah, I've done a few. This is a bit off topic, but we're why the fuck not, right? I've done a few trips. So in the US, so this is for keep mostly. In the US, I did people. You know, the US is funny. You know, the US public transit kind of gets belittled a bit and stuff. But in Europe, I mean, most people I know don't even own a car, basically. So for me, coming from Europe, Amtrak across the states sounded great. So what I did with a friend was we started off in Toronto, took the train down to New York, and then I think it goes via Philadelphia, yeah. Took the train all the way down to New Orleans. I can't remember what the train is actually called. Is it called the Eastern Starlight or something like that? I don't know. It's been a while. And then went from New Orleans to, I think we got out in Alpine, Texas to go to Big Bend National Park, and then drove to El Paso. Had a great time in El Paso. It's kind of unfortunate that it's kind of just now known for a mass shooting at a Walmart, but it is a great town. And then hopped back on the train to go to LA. So we basically started off in Canada, -30, and then crossed the entire US and ended up in Los Angeles, where it's +30. So that was a great 3 weeks. Okay, our run finished, and it's a 10. Ooh, it's our best result yet. Interesting. So that was a 2.8 run. Yeah, this law just seems to keep the balance between the two tests. So that was a 2.8. Let's do a 2.9. Let's just try all the settings, eh? Okay. Yeah, so I actually on another occasion did LA to Portland as well. So basically, there's sort of a loop that people do, which is like basically looping the entire US, which, because there's no proper connection here between Miami and New Orleans, you can't really do. You're skipping this whole corner of the country. But there's something that people do that's sort of like, I guess you can start in Boston to make it the longest trip. Boston to New Orleans to LA to Seattle back to Boston via Chicago. So I'm sort of the only big chunk that I'm missing is Seattle to New York or to Boston. But we're talking about Canada. Where is Canada? Right. There will be a little bit simpler. I mean, I suppose you could continue on to Halifax. Oops. But you can sort of start. I don't know if this section is worth doing, but for sure you can do a transcontinental from Vancouver to Montreal or Quebec. Okay, so let's do a little bit of an update. I passed the 10,000 Harbor points. It seems that like that. Let's go back to Miller's sub actually. So Miller did 3G in GPU Pi on this card, and this is just crazy. These high end caps he added here. I think it's caps. Yeah, it's all usually caps. So he did a super high end caps. Yeah, he did a cap mod on the card, which hopefully I'll start doing as well. I got a USB microscope because my eyesight, I'm a little bit farsighted, so trying to do all the little soldering is a little bit challenging. So I've started doing some soldering, fixing up some mods that fell off of cards as they were shipped to me, adding some sense wires as well. I mean, there's a sense wire on this card, but it's not much point since as our run finishes. Not as good, but just a few frames off. So since 2.8 was so good, let's try 2.6 is the next one down. Yeah, fixing up mods, adding sense wires, having a look. I bought a lot of, yeah, Insane Miller. I bought a lot of cards from Dino and some GTX 580s that do like 1550 core at least. An X World Record GTX 275 super overclocked. A few other things too. Some really good HT 7970s, and I just want to make sure all the mods are working, all the sense wires are in place. Yeah, and my first cards that I'm going to mod myself are four GTX 480s because I don't think they're particularly good bins. It's relatively easy to mod them, so yeah. So plenty of old Molex plugs and PCIe plugs being repurposed as sense wires. It's just insane. I need to get some of these displays. That's even nicer than sense wires. I mean, I like sense wires because I have something like 6 voltmeters or multimeters, so I don't really mind it. But the next best thing, I mean, it is a bit intimidating at first to poke the back of a card while it's running in order to find the right spot to solder stuff. I got my third camera working as well, actually. It's like a really banged up camera with a missing LCD, and all along the issue was that it would turn off after 10 minutes and I couldn't fix it. And then I realized that the reason it turns off is because it has eye detect on the viewfinder. So the way to fix that, it's just a little sensor next to the viewfinder. So I put a piece of tape over that, and now it just stays constantly on. I mean, I have AC power for all of my cameras anyway, so that shouldn't be a concern. But the reason that the camera turns off by default is it expects to be on battery. Man, it's cold today. Yeah, that's a good full pot run. I ordered LN2 for Friday, so next stream should be LN2. I mean, if I have huge internet issues like this, then maybe not. Oof. I'm glad I tested that. That's a significant gain. Hopefully it's not a fluke run. 10,958. GT2 really loves that for some reason. We did try 2.5. Let's do a rerun. I'm a little bit suspicious that it was a fluke run. Yeah, so I've basically been running through my stock of GPU. Which is significant. So it's starting to get sort of organized. So the way I've done it is 3D should definitely be part of my dictionary. Artifacting, that's spelled correctly. Yeah, so I just sort of color code them. Green is what I want, obviously, having checked 3D clocks. So as you might be aware, you know, some cards, the really old ones don't actually, but some cards, basically most cards, have two sets of clocks, so two power states sort of, which means that a card that's slightly damaged can often post and even boot with the driver installed, but won't actually perform any 3D rendering. Topica sub? Okay, let's go check that out. I'm guessing 775. Can you link it maybe? Topica doesn't have an account anymore. He deleted his account years ago, but he does sometimes sub under need more beer, I think. Sort of a semi-joke account. What kind of sub was it? I'm not seeing it. Alright, let's just check. X58, alright. Well, it's not on Need More Beer, but I can find it this way. Technically considered to be a motherboard bench. Oh wow, he did actually sub on his own account. Ah, but he does disable points, yeah. Yeah, 300 is a good mark too. Oh, 20 kilos. Yeah, so unfortunately we did have a bit of a fluke run there. Let's do a best of 3. So that was 2.6. Let's try 2.8 again. No, actually, let's rerun one more time. So yeah, this card, 03 especially, could be interesting on this card, but 06 is Jensen, the retired Filipino bencher. Only, quote unquote, only 1100, but how the hell is he getting 1500 memories? Is what I'd like to know. Even OGS can't beat him. It's on 4-core 8 thread. So I could certainly get a nice boost in CP. Okay, so E powered. Makes sense. Ah. Yeah, everyone has aces cards. It's an aces card. So maybe the Matrix. I reckon the one I have might be Matrix. It says aces, but it came bare PCB, so I can't be too sure. 1500. How recent is this LGS sub? 2016, so still on 6700k. But I mean, it's probably a lightning or something. It's probably a pretty decent card. What is it? Oh, actually also an aces. Maybe I should start setting an eBay filter for GTX 285 aces. Oof. Them prices. Eh. Excuse me. Okay, saved. So we got another 951 there. Let's do 2.8 runs. Everyone's running aces. I'm feeling cold in here. Usually all these rigs warm me up, but I've got all the windows and doors closed. Maybe I do need to add another card just to heat things up a bit. I'm tired. Okay, rig pick. Ooh. That always gets me going in rig picks like this. Actually, 2A06 on this is really juicy. How are they getting the memory up so high? I can get maybe 1450. Maybe I need to do some sort of a poll. This midweek timing doesn't seem as optimal anymore as I thought it would be. I suppose people are at work, but isn't everyone working from home? Shouldn't they be able to tune into my stream anyway? So this is one of the achievements I'm going for, is not that one. Stream for 200 hours. Still got 80 hours to go. Yeah, so I might do some X58 on LN2. I grabbed a few good 920s and 930s. I might put this card on LN2. some of the results are tempting. 03 seems somewhat in reach, but let's have a look at League's actual. Ooh, best run yet. Well, tied best run, 958. So what's League packing here? 1700 shader, that's getting up there. DDR3 platform, of course, but cold CPU, but still 13.5 might just about be reachable. And 42 hyper points. But let's do all the lot checking on the single card. Now I need to get better sleep, to be honest. Feel like I need another coffee or something. Been awake since 5 a.m. Yeah, but it's a shame I can't really. I can't stream at the maximum bitrate. But I think the quality is looking all right. I actually set my camera to 4K. 10 p.m. is good during the week, I reckon. Lots of people stay up until midnight. I mean, it's obviously being downsampled to absolute shit, but it's still worth it. I can still see the difference between 4K and 1080p, especially in full screen. It's getting there. I just wish my internet was a bit predictable. I can understand that in these unprecedented times, there can be parts of the day where the internet isn't optimal. But if it was just predictable, if I knew that at 5 p.m. the internet is always bad, that sort of thing. But I don't. I really don't. I really don't. So it's kind of hard to square that circle. The time of the day where hopefully the internet is good and hopefully people are around to watch. Oof, that went down quite a bit. Yeah, 2.6 is looking strong. So now let's try. I think there's a way to unlock more LOD. It's not in the monitoring section. Let's go 0 to. Okay, let's just put in 30. See what happens. Oh, wrong one. Yes. All right, we're testing up to 15 lot, guys. Wow. It's 06 as you've never seen it before. I need a few more rows in this graph. So let's test 15, 10, and 5. Yeah, I do. I do realize that actually more people watch the stream afterwards as a VOD than live. I'm very aware of that. I make sure as much as possible that all of my streams stay archived both on YouTube and on Twitch. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think I need to do a poll still for the timing. I like to have 10 or maybe 15 is kind of unrealistic, but sort of 5 or 10 people in the chat is a nice number. More is better, of course, but yeah, just to have a bit more interaction and stuff. But of course, lurkers are welcome as well. But just on a day like today, where I've spent hours getting my hardware ready, and I'm a bit tired. I'm looking at my OBS, and it's been running for an hour, and I feel like I've been streaming for 10 hours already. Yeah, but not to worry. Yes, we have 15 LOD range. I like it. I'm excited about LOD. I've been doing so much ATI clocking recently and really been having fun. So where's my GPU stock? It is here. Okay, so I've broken it down. Oop, that's not what I meant. I break it down by series here and also vendor, and then I just have AGP and PCI separate because they're just such a different beast. But so the earliest stuff that I have is X series, and I've basically, yeah, I think this card should actually be a green. 3D clock's okay. Some of these cards I haven't checked yet, but a lot of them I have. This is a good card that I want to take cold. But 2900 XTs, legendaries cards as well. And then it starts getting really, really funky. I have an X2, a HT3870 X2. I have a ton of 4870 X2s. So our 15 LOD result is out. It's not great. All right, let's do 3 runs just to be completely sure. 5000 series, of course, I have a ton as well. One from Dino, which I need to hard mod because it doesn't have any software control. 6000 series is sort of my blind spot. But I'm starting to acquire some stuff. The Hawk is a good one there to do more with, and then of course 7000 series. I have I think it's a Sapphire 7990 now. Came from eBay US. I have way more 2990Xs though. I got Dino's Crossfire set. Unfortunately, they have Elpida memory, so that limits their use a bit. The Vega Nano is in the streamer. I got it for a country cup, but it never actually went under LN2, so what a waste. But at least it's in the streamer now. My RX 480 did 2 gigahertz core, so that's nice. It's a nice card. I have a few lightnings as well. I haven't added my lightnings in here yet. So under NVIDIA, these all seem dead, unfortunately. And I don't know where this card is. But I do have a 6800 Ultra on the way. And yeah, I mean, 7 and 8000 series I have a ton of, including a 7950 X2. Yeah, this really doesn't seem great. 2 runs will do it. Let's go for 10 lot. Yeah, 7 and 8000, 9000 it starts to get a little bit less, but at least I have some of the really popular SKUs with lots of hardware points. The smaller one, the lower power ones, 9500, 9600 GTs, and then of course 200 series is just insane. 295X2 295s, 3 285s. Oop. And then 2 275s. I have 1 2 3 4 5. 1 280. I don't have a second 280. That was some sort of confusion. A couple of 260 with a smaller shader count, and I think I have 4 of these actually. And I'm selling a 5th. 300 series, of course, famously didn't exist. 400 series, I have the 4 GTX 480s. I have a Hawk, a 460 Hawk from Popa. A couple of 460s that obviously need mods to have such a small VRM. 500 series, I think I've run the 590. I have a ton of 580s. I think I have a 4th one. I'm pretty sure I have a 4th one. Also from Dino. 600 series, I have 4 lightnings at this point. I really need to bin through them. Oh. 700 series, unfortunately I have a dead 780 Kingpin and a dead 780 Classy, but my 770 EVGA Classy is it's quite nice. Need to run that cold at some point. Although at Country Cup with 2019 we did discover that the classified doesn't seem to be as good cold as the Lightning. The Lightning was what the team subbed in the end. The classified had a nasty cold bug. 10926. Nothing to write home about. I'm only going to do 2 runs per lot level. Yeah, so and I have a lot of 900 series. So Truth sent me a 1070 Huff. I'll have to power mod it. but it did get benched for the 3 Mac 11 SLI stage on FX. 1050 Ti was Country Cup 2017, I think, but it's got mods on it, and it refused to post for me now. I'll have to debug it more. Yeah, these people are crazy. I've quite a lot of F58 boards, so maybe I should give that a go. 6.5 gigahertz multi-core is pretty sweet here. I might actually have to make myself a coffee. Really struggling. Oh. That loud. What is this test actually supposed to be? Is it two wisps flying around a forest, or what's going on here? Okay, let's investigate this SLI hack. I think the tech power up one is the one to go for. Okay, virtualization needs to be on. That's interesting. I usually disable that. Ten 931. Okay, let's try 5 LOD. Starting to look a little bit more like a loading screen. Okay, so how does this not support anymore? Okay. So this site is down. For 64-bit systems, nice. Well, so it actually works in my favor that my OS is a XP64. Okay, install drivers, put the cards together. You want to SLI, reboot, copy a file, run an XC, log in as admin. Well, that's not a problem on XP. UAC must be disabled, and then run another file. Hopefully it works. but we're a little bit away from that still. Okay, I think shader model 2 is more or less done, unless I see something very interesting here on this run. I know where I was going wrong today. No alien. Yeah, that's really slow. Just gonna do a full run while I'm making myself a coffee. I'll be right back. Well, it's certainly warmer in here. Wow, it's only GT2. Certainly warmer in here than the rest of the house, that's for sure. Okay, here's the new GTs. So this is what we call canyons, for I think somewhat obvious reasons. Yeah. So 3D Mark 06, for those who don't know, is 4 GTs and 2 so-called CTs, CPU tests. So 3D Mark, prior to the introduction of combined tests called the purely computer-based tests, CTs, or sorry, CPU-based tests, CPU tests, which makes sense. And then obviously graphics tests have always been known as graphics tests or GTs. So GT 1 and 2, so Proxicon and Forest or Firefly are shader model 2, so DirectX, is it 7 or 9A? Like 9 flat, 9 without any letter attached to it. And then, so they're sort of what, a minute and a half and a minute long. And then in the middle you have the CPU tests, 2 of them, very, very quick ones, so like 30 seconds each, which is rendering 3D completely on the computer or on the CPU. Why am I mixing that up? That doesn't make any sense. And then at the very end, you have these 2 tests. So I think they call this one Polar. Pretty sure it's called Polar. I'll double check. So Canyons and Polar. So a minute and a bit, a minute and 15 each, a minute and 30. And these are shader model 3. So they actually stress the GPU in different ways. And it's DirectX 9C. So your GPU needs to have that support. So there are actually some cards that support only the shader model 2. So there's only 2 GPUs for that, and the benchmark allows for that. So 12.4. So 10901 for shader model 2 and 12410. Let's go to our optimal LOD. Let's go, the absolute best was 2.8. Let's see if the entire test is happy at 2.8. So yeah, it's a very tweak heavy benchmark, because you've got some 3 parts to the bench, and you also have some CPU heavy parts to the bench. So yeah, basically what we call a CPU test here is now called a physics test, because they had to be able to distinguish between CPU and combined. So if you call them CPU tests, then it would be like, this bench has GTs, CTs, and CTs, so that doesn't make any sense. So it's now turned into GTs, PTs, and CTs. So yeah, the early 3D Max, to be valid for the ranking or to produce a score basically, which is the same thing, did have CPU tests. I think even 01 had some sort of CPU test, but you just deselect it. So in terms of ranking relevant stuff, 01, 03, and 05 do not have any CPU aspects. I mean, they're very CPU bottlenecked in some cases, but it's all GTs. 06 was the first one to have 2 CPU tests, CTs, and then Vantage sort of continued that tradition and had 2 CPU tests, but then they decided they would actually, instead of having 2 CPU tests, have a combined, which puts load on the GPU and the CPU at the same time. So 3D Mac 11, Firestrike, and so on. So Vantage was the last not to have a combined. And then with TimeSpy, they went sort of in a different direction again and got rid of combined and just had 2 GTs and a physics. So at least, I don't want to jinx it, but at least the internet issues seem to be somewhat resolved. Okay, we have 2 GTs left. Let me check on my stovetop coffee. Canyons. And here's my coffee. Cheers, guys. Sometimes I have beer on the stream, now I have coffee. But it's still a little bit too hot, so that was a fake out, guy. Fake out. All right, live for an hour and a half, and I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to get motivated, guys. So I think this was a 2.8 run, wasn't it? There's a white paper. 3. You can just Google it actually, but let's just show it to you. I'll put the link in the chat. Very useful, especially. So let's. Yeah, so shader model 1 was DirectX 8, which actually, fun fact, I don't think there's any hardware bot relevant DirectX 8 benches. It's all 7 or earlier, or 9 or later. Yeah, DirectX 9 was shader model 2, and then 9C was shader model 3. Okay, so that's a really good run. 10954, and I'm happy because it seems like, I mean, yeah, there's a bit of variance there, but let's do another 2.6 run since that was really good. Maybe shader model 3 is happier at 2.6, who knows. We're almost there. Hi, Hardware Barbecue. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing? Did you just wake up? Yeah, I mean, streaming wise, I've probably been better. I've spent a lot of time in the last 2 days just to get this stream ready, and it's not really that ready. I obviously a while back had issues with thermals on my streaming rig, so I had to debug that, undervolt a little bit and stuff. Then I also bought a new capture card. So all of this stuff used to be in my streaming rig. This is what was capturing all my cameras and the bench rig and stuff. So I've replaced all that with a Black Magic, so-called Black Magic. One of these things. Nah, not these fancy versions. The cheap one. There we go. Yeah, one of these. So I've got 3 cameras going into that right now, but it took a little bit of debugging. Extra cam. Oh, that's right. You stream sometimes too. Well, feel free to link your stream. So, is it just because of Corona, or I don't know? Let me know if there's any more sort of story to tell there. So we're benching a GTX 285, the top end card, the refresh top end card for the GTX 200 series actually. So oh, the 275 came afterwards. I wasn't aware. Anyway, this is the stack. I own all of these cards. I only have 280, but the 295 is a dual GPU, so that's very different. So 12384, that's slower. Let's try 3 lot again. And let's do a full run actually. 3300X is the non-hyper threaded quad core, is that right? No, it is hyper threaded. Yeah, I like quad cores. I think dual cores are kind of sadly gone forever now, but I mean, for APUs, yeah, it does. Well, the correct description is what is it? Symmetric multi-threading (SMT), since hyper-threading is an Intel trademark, and we shouldn't be using it in relation to AMD. But old habits die hard. I mean, for the majority of the existence of CPU manufacturers, the only type of SMT available in the market was hyper-threading, and AMD just didn't have hyper-threading. I didn't have SMT, didn't have multiple threads per core. So it's only natural to have that habit, I think. Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, what do you do with your daily driver? Just like, do you just do browsing and email and that kind of thing, or do you game as well? Because four cores for gaming starts to become a little bit out of date. I would rather have 6-core 6-thread, I think, or 6-core 12-thread. Do you, when you stream, do you encode on your NVIDIA card? Because I do CPU encoding, so my Threadripper is actually quite useful for that. Okay, here's my coffee. Time for a sip of the coffee. Cheers. Oh yeah, that hits the spot. Had about 6 hours of sleep last night. I'm a hay fever sufferer, so sometimes I wake up and it's really hard to get back to sleep. Ryzen 4. You mean, I mean, the only type of Ryzen 4 that's currently out is mobile, unless you're waiting for the release of Ryzen 4000 on desktop in September or whenever it is. Barbecue, I don't know if you've seen my room cam yet. So quite messy at the moment. Got my snacks here, my coffee. I've been binning a lot of GPUs. A lot. An absolute shit ton of GPUs. These 50, I think that's a 50-liter tub. You can see 2 of them. My entire collection of motherboards and GPUs is, I think, 6 50-liter tubs. So there's only 2 of them here. The rest are in my basement, but that will give you an idea. I have to put up a picture of it sometime, of all of the tubs of hardware, because it is completely insane. I have a shopping bag full of CPUs, and then I have 300 liters of of motherboards and GPUs, and a lot of those are bare PCB as well. It's insane. Yeah, what have I got lying around here? Mostly GPUs. Okay, final GT. We still don't know what it's called, do we? Should check in the bench. I think we might be about ready to overclock. An hour and a half into the bench. So I think the room cam will get a little bit more use. So back here, I always put my viewer over here, sort of behind me, on the sofa. So when I'm refilling from the viewer, instead of showing you just the face cam with basically nothing in it, I can show you the room cam. Okay, so that was a 3 LOD, and to be honest, the result wasn't fantastic. Let's just do a quick 0 LOD run as well. Just the last 2 GTs. Just in case they really like it. Deep freeze is what they call it. Arctic deep freeze. Something like that. Yeah, sort of the behind the scenes cam. I like this setup because I can always open the door and get plenty of ventilation if I ever feel like there's too much nitrogen building up in the room. If I need to drain a block or something, I can just drain it out there on the balcony. It's really nice. It almost feels like outdoor benching. Yeah. My mouse, my benching mouse is an MX, what is it, 518 I think they're called. Ancient at this point. Really difficult, either expensive or difficult to get right now. I think they re-released it. Okay. Let's get the second card at least introduced to the stream. So generic Chinese block on there, but at least a little bit of VRM cooling. That's always good. Then there's this IO slash TV out die over here that needs a little bit. No mods on it yet. What is it? It's Hynix RAM. They all seem to have Hynix RAM. I have 3 different cards that all have Hynix RAM. Otherwise, there's nothing special about it. Just a 6-pin and an 8-pin. I always use the EK quick disconnects. I need to get some more actually, because right now I have 2 of them in the loop. Then there's a 3rd on here. Well, there's a 4th somewhere, but I should get like a 5th and a 6th. What's that blue PCB again? Now I'm curious. 285. Yeah, okay, I think this is a Galaxy card. Yeah, so 0 lot is 12309. So not that great. Let's try like 4 lot. I still feel like there's a sweet spot to be found here somewhere. So let's try 4 lot. Okay, but let me try and understand this 12 volt concept. I'm a little bit, I'm not like a daily system builder, so please forgive me if I get some stuff wrong here. But yeah, it's true that 3.3 volts and 5 volts are getting used less and less. One of them I think is basically not used in a modern system anymore. Is it, I think it might be 3.3, but then 5 I think is used for SATA drives. So unless NVMe drives really catch up in terms of price per gigabyte, so because NVMe obviously gets its power from the motherboard, so yeah, you can eliminate a lot of rails. Of course, I mean 12 volt, what is, the PCIe connectors are 12 volts too, but they're separate. So yeah, basically all the really high power stuff runs on 12 volts. So the CPU and your graphics card. So let's just assume you have a kind of like a home theater PC with just an NVMe drive in it. Maybe just even iGPU in use. So then you just need the 12 volt connector. But does the new standard 10 pins, yeah. But does the new standard also integrate the CPU 8-pin, or do you still need that? So are you still do you still have 2 connectors? Let's say you have a system without a graphics card and without SATA drives. Is that still 2 power connectors? One for your CPU and one for your motherboard? Not clear. Okay. Because that's kind of, that would be really attractive if, because it's the new standard anyway, you know, maybe they should even keep it to like 20 pins, but just have more 12 volt pins. So you can integrate the 8-pin. You know, take away all the, basically replace all the pins that are not 12 pin in the 24 pin, make it like 22 pins so it's obvious that it doesn't fit. I mean, we're not going to be using the standard for benching anyway, are we? I mean, it just doesn't seem like we would. It's more of a home theater PC Nook kind of standard. and those are cool. I mean, I'm all for smaller PCs. My streaming rig is, you know, high performance desktop in MATX form factor, so it's kind of nice. You're beginning to hate change. Yes, I think at a certain age that does tend to happen. The only thing not on my room cam is the chillers there, hidden kind of under the desk down here. I think you can see pretty much everything else. So many motherboards. I really need to clean up. How do I get out of the room? This way? Yeah, well, especially when the tripod is out for the rig cam, it is kind of tough. Ah, that's sweet coffee. So what do you guys think of this idea that somebody, I think Hayden, put in the chat a couple of streams ago, of basically maybe not resurrecting overclocking TV, but having an overclocking chat show like that? Would people watch it? Again, I think time zones and things would be a bit of an issue. Okay, final GT. I think we're ready to overclock. Let me chill down a little bit more, actually. The nice thing about this weather is that the dew point is higher, so I can chill my chiller down further. Um, 10944. Oh, this is actually a good run. 10944 and 12393. 2.8 is still better though, isn't it? I think let's go with 2.8. Okay, where's our GPU Z? Let's do some overclocking. So yeah, the bias that Popa Ramiro flashed on here is obviously not stock. 750 1300, unless it's a, I mean, maybe it's a matrix. So 285 matrix tech power up. Come on. No, stock is 662. You see there, let's work it out actually. The stock ratio on the matrix from core to shader is 2.27 to 1. And you can see on my example here, it's a 2:1 ratio. Okay, so this card, what did it do? What did it do again? It did 830. Yeah, it did. It did 830, 14, 10 through 3 Mark 03. So let's do 820 1400 and see what happens. Well, that didn't apply for some reason. Okay, I'll go to Afterburner. That's better. So you can see the shader is exactly double, but let's see if we can also do shader overclocking at least in here. So shader applies but the other clocks don't. That's fine. Okay, I can work with that. So let's do a full run. So this is 2.8 LOD, 820, 1400, 1700. Mix of builders, reviewers, overclockers. Yeah, I think Samza is a reviewer and an overclocker, but I think the time zone aspect is just a killer. That's where I don't really have an answer at all. Let's have a look at the rankings. Obviously there's LN2 at the top. Is this well, there's no picture, but let's see if it's the exact card. Ooh. Yeah, it might be this card. There's a second mod on there though. Certainly looks very familiar, very similar. Let's see if the wire colors are the same. Two yellow and one white. So the OCP mod actually fell off during shipping, potentially. I'll have to look for solder spots and resolder it. It wasn't even on chiller apparently. 900 and 1480. I might have to crank the voltage a little bit and see if I can really get there. How many threads is this guy on? Just 4770K at 5G. This is it, guys. CPU test actually displaying properly. Hey Ramhi, how are you doing? Not much. Just benching 3 Mark 06 on a graphics card from 2009. Just got up. Well, good morning to you. I really like this graphics test. 5 a.m. Wow. You must be in Germany or somewhere like that. Switzerland, you got hit pretty bad with human malware. Hopefully you're safe. That's good to hear. Nice. Yeah, I don't have any servers. I mean, I do have a server, but it's not running. It's a LJ771 server. Oh, welcome back, barbecue. Yeah, I've got a blade down in the basement, but it's not running. I do have a NAS though, so 32421. Oh, that's beats Pop quite handily. So let's have a look at the rankings. The CPU score really helps, doesn't it? Ooh, it even beats Dinzo. This is a 20-pointer, nice. What's PF sense? So yeah, this beats a DICE score or a LN2 score. I should probably save it then. Sweet. Okay, I think the lot is nice. Can we try for 5.5 maybe? Okay, next time I'll actually save a proper screenshot, but here I just want to see the clocks and the subtests. Let's aim for over 100 in these first ones. Okay. 840. Just like that. Let's try. A little trick is pre-running the CPU tests. That might give you a little bit of a boost with the actual full run. Okay, let's actually look at every end frame. Let's literally just chuck all of this into our 3D Mac calculator. Talking makes me want to drink more water. Maybe 3D Mark 03 is actually heavier on this card than 06. Has Buildy been streaming anything recently? He doesn't archive his streams either, does he? Oh, he's hosting me. That's nice. Okay, so end frame is coming up. If you're not familiar, you've got the frame count, which is to the right, which you're actually not really seeing here, but I'm seeing it. So that was a 10,150, I think, which seems slow. Interesting. Let's keep an eye on that. Maybe the card has throttled down or something, which is possible. I don't think there's a windowed mode for 06. That would be nice to have the GPU Z monitoring tab open in the background. So let's check the end frame here. The test is about 55 seconds. So almost there. Bloody hay fever. Hate it. So that's a what? 50... 6,140 or thereabouts. Okay, that's 99. Here you can't really... I mean, you could, but you can't really judge the CPU tests. Yeah, that's true. Stay hydrated. Yeah, maybe I need to get a hydration bot into the chat. I mean, it's passing, but Diablo 80 is our target here, and oh, what happened to Hydrate Bot? So 135 FPS is what that guy was able to produce. Yeah, it just seems slow, but okay, I think a minute 17 or thereabouts. So let's check for end frame. About 9960, 124 FPS. It's not terrible, I suppose. Our CPU test can help, can kind of bail us out a bit. Weird. I mean, if it was a legitimate concern, then good on Twitch for acting there, but stupid of the Hydrate bot developers to do that, I suppose. Then again, this is 2020. I'm not surprised by anything anymore. So let's check our end frame. Will we make it to 10k? 9.9. Our previous run was 32.4, now we're at 32.7. That's not a lot of scaling. And we got to get to 33. Okay. Let's grab it. That was a 32.7k 06 285. I dropped the shader back down to 1680 when I applied in Afterburner. That certainly didn't help. Okay, 860. Okay, 860 is a bust. While we're rebooting, we may as well try 100 megahertz more encore. Can't decide if I'm feeling hot or cold. It's one of those days. Man, I wish my standing desk was working. This desk actually, this is an IKEA standing desk, and it goes way, way up. It's motorized, but it stopped working, and I think it's out of warranty, so not really sure what to do. Okay, so we of course run a CPU test straight away to make sure that we're not introducing any instability with the higher encore. That looked like a crash for a second, but it wasn't, so Okay. Let's try something like what did Popa run? He ran 1480. Let's try something like 850, 1450. And I think D3D Overrider is not helping us here. I think I can go another degree lower on the chiller without causing any condensation. Okay, 840, 1450 then. Hopefully it's not crashing in the GTs due to Encore. That would be a hard one to diagnose. Okay. Quick CPU test beforehand as always. Yeah, so about the motors, let's see if I can actually just find the exact desk. Hopefully we still have a lot applied. It looks like we do, but it's fine. Might have been this one. Certainly similar. Yeah, so can I look at it in black? Yeah, so it's got these telescoping legs, and the motor is actually inside the leg here. So the legs are really heavy, but it's just, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. You can't really get at it. And it's not broken, it's just that some sort of, it's almost sort of like a protection mechanism that that kicks in. So maybe I can override that somehow. So I think the desk thinks it's overloaded. It's got too much stuff on it, which it doesn't. It's rated for like 20 kilos, and I don't have 20 kilos of screens and things on here. So it sort of only goes up in very tiny steps, and even more confusing, it only goes down in tiny steps. Let's watch for end frame here. So the one I noted down last time, which seemed a bit low, is 10.100. So now we're at 10,360 or so. Yeah. But try raising a desk that's got an open bench table, a PSU, an entire benching rig, 3 monitor arms, 3 monitors, a laptop, a microphone interface, and some random crap on it, and a lamp, a desk lamp. Maybe that can be my isolation workout. I'm a bit annoyed with this camera. Let me try and fix this camera. Keeps on showing the menus for some reason. So we passed the first 2 GTs. It's always good. I missed the end frame on GT2 though, so I assume it was better. I'm using a really common driver, 197.45, I think. A lot of people use that for the 200 series. And I did it again. Why do you keep stopping, camera? Okay, let's check the end frame here. Last time it was 9960. About 9980, not a massive improvement. So our last run was a 22.7. Hopefully we can break the 23. I mean, 50 megahertz extra on the memory is pretty decent. Core seems to be maxed out, at least at this V core. So end frame last time was about 9900. That slow pan back of the camera. Okay, we almost made 10,000. So close. All right. We're getting to the end here. Let's try a pure shader overclock. I think 1750 is possible. Let's just go in hard actually. Let's go 1800 and see what happens. that updated. Okay. Okay, 1750 then. Quick rerun of the CTs. That wasn't very successful, was it? I've got a black open bench table. Was that the card? Or just a random fail? Yeah, I'm sure Dima's tech is pretty good. I started off benching LN2 on motherboard boxes, so anything better than that is an improvement. Is there really no way to have shader overclocking in here? Let's see how we go. No. Just no. Okay. Let's try 5.5 on the CPU. So what does the DMAS have that the open bench table doesn't? I actually don't know. Asus motherboards do that sometimes, where you go into BIOS and the PS2 keyboard isn't recognized, so you just have to reboot and then it comes back. Oh, taking component photos, so it has like attachments for camera and stuff. Let's see how we go with that V-core. Okay. I mean, open bench tables are pretty sexy, so... Yeah, I've been happy with mine. Okay, that's a post. Just get both. Okay, we're at 5.5. It's very likely to fail, but let's try. $63 on the CPU. Okay. Hopefully it can consistently pass. So 15, so it was just 200 points more, but that can really help. So the high shader really didn't like it, did it? So let's go 1725 shader. Yep. Plasti dip your open bench table. Interesting idea. Wow. It really doesn't like a high shader. Gotta try 5.4 on core now. And then maybe 1475 on the GPU memory. And then that'll be kind of the end of the road, to be honest. Then we'll go SLI. Or try to. So is there no white version of the open bench table? That's a shame. Come on. I'm not sure if that was the end of the... Yeah. End of the bench or just a crash. Same score. $1,500 RAM. Okay. Back down with the Encore. I don't know what else I can really increase. I would like to break the 33k. Silver, red, and black. Red is pretty sweet. I was considering red when it came out, I think. Let's just do a 1700. Well, let's try 1475, and if that doesn't work, then back down to 1450 and a 1700 shader. It's only a 20 increase, but that might be enough. $15.3 is pretty strong. Okay, I think we already had clock set. Oh wow. Splayvran GTX 970. And it's a monster. Almost at max hardware points now. 67.3 I guess is max hardware points. We're at 66.6. I think Newell was e-powered. No, it wasn't actually. Okay, let's watch for end frame. $10,360 was the last end frame. Probably about a $10,390. Is that a Miller modded card? Miller mod. I have a Strix. I should run a cold sometime. I need to EVC mod it first though. Some juicy points on that card. So where's our end frame? Last time I had a 6140. Yeah, about a 6190 or so. The CPU test hang. Let's go down another degrees. Or maybe just give it a little bit more V-core. Nah, it's a shame. Suppose there's just enough extra heat in the loop to make the CPU test fail. This chip is quite temperature sensitive. More V-core might not be the answer then, but let's have a look. No, oh, that was a a late display switch there. So we're getting to 66 degrees under load. Before I raised the V-core it was 65, so yeah. Worse. Oh yeah, back down to 54 multiplier then. Just want to get that one final run out. Almost lunchtime. Hopefully it's not the GPU overclock messing with the CTs. That would be something else. Yeah, not a good score, but so that was 14.9. Let's actually see if priority does anything. Okay, but reruns also help the score, but it didn't hurt. Okay, let this be the last single card run. I wonder how the streaming rig is going actually. In terms of just temps. 66, that's alright actually. When's the last time Billzoid put a live stream on his channel? There's no playlist for live streams only, so... Oh, 52. I mean, I don't think he's archiving his live streams that much anymore. So those two answers might be different. What's on YouTube, the last thing that's on YouTube might be different to the last time he actually live streamed, because he doesn't archive his streams on Twitch either, so it's hard to know the last time he was live. $10,450. Okay, that's an appreciable increase. $200 to $350. Nice. Okay, I haven't gotten an end frame on here in a while, so that'll give me a good score estimate if I update the end frame. I think it's a 65-second GT, this one. I thought this office chair was comfy, but it's starting to annoy me a bit. Who's Awesome Hardware? Never heard of them. Okay, let's drop the shader first. Oh, it's Paul. Okay. Livestream 54 was 2 years ago. I mean, 56. $59 exists. 61. So he might be at like 80 live streams. I might overtake him soon, officially, in terms of number of live streams at least. Yeah, let's watch for the end frame. 10,450 was last time. Ah, 10,400 or so. So that shader does hurt, doesn't it? Quite a lot, even 20 megahertz. No GT2 fail, please. This is my final score, unless it's really, really garbage. Even if it's a 32,999, this is my final score, and I'm throwing the second card in. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Paul and Kyle, but I have to say, you know, tech YouTubers are very, they're all an acquired taste. Some people like Jay's, some people like Kyle, some people like Paul. I still, for what I like, for what I'm interested in, I still like Hardware Unboxed the most, and Gamers Nexus can be pretty good. Otherwise, Adore TV. Okay, let's watch for the end frame. 6.2 or so. No CT fails, please. I think Adored is just hypercritical of everyone. Yeah, the ones that are just too much style and not enough substance are, in my opinion, are Hardware Canucks, Jays, Paul, Kyle, and the ones that have enough interesting detail are just whoever's left, basically. Hardware Unboxed is really good, not just because they're Aussie. That's bad. That is bad. Man. 5th test out of 6. That's gotta hurt. Okay, let's just do a 1460 run or something. Okay, I'm being cheeky here and going 845. Really trying to eke it all out. $700 is a lot. Mine costs more like $80. I really hope this is it. 06 is a tough bench. There's a reason I don't bench it on stream a lot. SM7B. Yeah, good old SM7B. I'll be right back. Just in time to get the GT1 end frame. $1,400 is the last time, 450 or so. GT2 fail this time. $600 mic for Discord. Holy shit. Okay, I think it's the shader. Let's try something here. Let's actually go 850, 1450, and let's lower the shader. Let's go to like whatever. 1670. Well, that didn't seem to apply. Hello, GPUZ. Okay, so it can't go over 2:1, can it? Yeah, 840, 1460. singing contest. Not sure I saved my 32.7, but yeah, I'm not making 33. I just want to run to finish basically at this point. This has been an odyssey. As we come up to 3 hours uptime. Fuck. Okay. Let's add the second card. Can't forget power. Gonna have to strap on the bottom fan. It's gonna get a little bit louder. I think that's acceptable for the remainder of the stream. I'm gonna go into OS. Oh. There we go. Gonna go into OS, wait for the card to recognize, and then shut down again, image the OS. While I'm imaging it, put the SLI hack on there. As you can see, there's no SLI setting in here. Let's... Oof, did I just... It'll come up again. So on XP you can't just add a card, you have to reboot once. I need to get better fans, basically. Streamers have a hoarding issue. I kind of have a hoarding issue in terms of cameras. Not so much other hardware. So SLI disabled, both cards recognized. Still no SLI option. So now we shut down the rig. I haven't imaged this OS and it was quite a while since it takes quite a while to set up an OS like this, so I'm just gonna image it. I also don't have any USB support, so I can't just stick a USB in with the right stuff, with the right SLI hack. So I use Macrium Reflect for my backups. Gonna make a quick backup. It's XP, so, and I'm locally backing it up onto SSD, so no worries there. Room cam time. So it's backing up. Time remaining 1 minute and 15 seconds. Let's put the hack in there. Good view. What do you mean? Balcony. Can't really see much there, can you? So now let's follow this advice to the letter. Install drivers, check. Put cards together, you want an SLI, check. Reboot, check. So we're at spot number 4. So we go to C system 32. Well, Windows. NVL. What is it? NVL DD. Maybe just under system. System 32 drivers, okay. NVL. It's not there. Well, the exe isn't there, so that's already a bit of an issue. I have to use the release version of it. Okay, this fan can go fuck itself for a little bit. Yeah, I downloaded the source code version, so let's give that one more try. Want to find a fan header that isn't full speed. Oh, that's an RGB header. Okay, please work, SLI hack. Okay. See if we can find .NET XP Service Pack 3. Yes, the standalone installer in fact does exist for XP. And it's already downloaded basically. Why did Nvidia ever make SLI dependent on having a bloody license on the motherboard? What a waste of time all of this is. Crossfire just always works. Pretty much. Money. Yeah, indeed. Jensen. Indeed. A surprising amount of stuff is built on .NET. Come on, you can do it. Let's have a look at the two-way rankings for inspiration. Oh, that's right. It's just League at 800. I don't know if my second card can do 800 though. And 1450. 13500 CPU score is beatable though. Okay, install is completed. Can I run a search? How the hell do you search on Windows XP again? Well, all the HyperSLI links are dead. I do need to enable virtualization. Okay, let's try one more thing. Let's try to match the driver that League is using. While that's downloading, I'm going to turn this fan down. Surely it's one of the chassis fans. There we go. Okay. Let's transfer over the driver. Yeah, surely this is it. I'm hopeful. I think the driver was maybe just a little bit too old. Oh no, it's checking system compatibility. Yay. Progress. This is what I call progress. First check, of course, will be whether there's just an SLI enable in the driver. Since it's a new driver, it's worth checking. And then next we'll be looking for that mysterious file under system32/driver. And if it's not there, I can still try to patch, but that might be the end of the line then. Ooh, such high res. No, don't switch the resolution. What have we got detected in here? Not much, apparently. Well, if GPU-Z doesn't launch, then we're already kind of dead on arrival. We can check for that file though. Oop. Only one card detected. Let's give it one restart. If this doesn't detect, then it's gonna be it. Let's check on the motherboard what the motherboard is saying. Yeah, the motherboard is actually only detecting one card, so that's not great. Alright guys, that's gonna be it. See if I can get this running. But yeah, hopefully LN2 stream next week. 3 hours and 36. It's time for me to get some lunch. Thanks for watching, guys.